Hey everyone, welcome back to Like a Boss, featured here on the Grit Daily News channel. I'm Loralyn Mears, your host of the show, and well, let's get right to it.
And in the house today, we've got Allie Xu. She is the co-founder of the World Pharmacy Organization, and you have got to get to know Allie. She's a practitioner in Chinese medicine, and she's not only thinking small, what she's doing is trying to bring global groups together. She's creating communities spanning the entire globe. She's also a podcast host, so it's nothing new to her to be on a show like this. So with that, let me welcome the pharmacist, Allie Xu.
Hello. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hi, everyone.
Well, why don't you give folks a little bit of a background? Because you're coming in from Australia here, dialing there tonight, and there's a lot going on with respect to not only pharmacy practices over there, but in general, overall, as the world is just still grappling with COVID and burnout in our healthcare workers. So maybe you can just give folks a little bit of background of kind of what's going on in the industry.
Yeah, sure. I'm a pharmacist as well as Chinese medicine practitioner. I work both in pharmacy as well as the Chinese medicine clinic. So during COVID, I've seen a lot of panic. A lot of people come in to get medications, and I sense a lot of fear. And in the Chinese medicine space, that people wanted to get help to prevent anything that could potentially happen to them. So I see this great need in preventative medicine, a great need in mind and body connection, because a lot of people are going through a really hard time in mental health, or family and friends passing away, as well as deal with the stress and the fear of being sick themselves. Healing is an important word, as COVID is post-COVID in Australia at the moment, but it's still happening in other parts of the world. So how can we come out of it? How can we heal ourselves? That's a huge topic that I think we should all address. And healing not just the physical body, but also your mind, and that connection, your emotions. That a lot of emotion were trapped, and negative emotions were trapped inside of our body. How can we release that and help you to get back to the original healthy state, the balanced state of your mind and body?
And that's one of the things I really love about the intention that you've set behind World Pharmacy Organization. You're bringing that level of humanity and kindness and love back in a world that is dictated by KPIs and metrics, right? And codes. Oh, no, you're not eligible for this. Your insurance says, yes, you're covered. No, you're not. You can get this help. No, you can't. And then there's the healthcare workers like yourselves, the pharmacists themselves, that are faced with this constant day-to-day battle, grappling with why you went to medical school and what you learned to do versus what your institution is demanding that you do in order to keep up with revenue numbers. They're at complete opposite ends.
Yeah. Now reflecting on that, I really think we need both. It's a partnership. We need that logic, the basic foundation, the understanding of the human body, but at the same time, that logical, results-driven, part of us. But also we need to put humanity and bring that kindness, love, and patience back to our patient care. We can all work together. If we put in more system in place in terms of prevention, then less people actually get to that sickness state, then we can actually spend more time to care for the sick. So I really see the Chinese medicine clinic is doing a big job in terms of prevention, educating patients on what you can eat, and be careful not to overwork, or take a deep breath, or meditate, yoga, relaxation, step outside in nature, all that. When we are healthy, how can we prevent it? How can we stay healthy and have mental clarity? I think I have so many patients come in with brain fog, fatigue, stress, and that's so common across the world.
So I think what you've really tapped into is that balance is off, right? And so we need to treat people as whole human, mental health and physical health. We need to bring in revenues and income to sustain things and keep it going, but you've got to bring in some of that humanity and heart and kindness and those pieces to be able to treat people. And I think the whole idea too that you're also onto and that balances off is inverting where we're focused rather than spending so much of our attention and our monies at the end with respect to insurance towards end of life when people are at their sickest. Instead, we should be putting our energies into how do you have a better, healthy life from the beginning, right? That whole prevention side. So I really think you're onto it with this imbalance that you're trying to right. And it's going to be really exciting to watch.
Yeah, thank you. You're right. Like balance, the whole philosophy of Chinese medicine is on balance, and the whole yin yang theory is the balance between yin and yang, and also balance between male and female, masculine and feminine energy. It works in partnership. You know, no one's more dominant than the other. It's a balance between it. So yeah.
And all right, so let's get to some of the questions that I typically ask my guests on here. So, Allie, dare to dream. What is the wild and crazy vision of success that you have for World Pharmacy Organization?
Beyond even just the pharmacy industry, I think is connecting all sectors together, not only pharmacy sector, but also the whole healthcare, and bring the tech together and collaborating, and creatives, artists, and people in education like yourself, and all people in different sectors bring together and have that, you know, empathy or connection, that openness to collaborate for the betterment of people in the community, and then give that equal healthcare, equal, you know, education, level of education to people all around the world. And it's all about balance, coming down to the resource balance. You know, we have so much knowledge and skill sets and tech and in one parts of the world, and let's bring that back. Let's bring that to the other parts of the world and help our brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. Cheers to that. I'm all about that. See, we're both social impact entrepreneurs, right? So it's like, how do we share the wealth, right? I mean, really, that's what it is. Now, what do you wish that someone had told you before you started World Pharmacy Organization? What do you wish that you knew when you got started?
I wish I knew I could think so much bigger than I was thinking. Because I grew up in China. I was born in China and lived, you know, raised until when I was 15 and moved to Australia. So my first 15 years of education or parenting was all about following rules. And there was this very structured way of living. And I was specific in instructions of don't think too big. Don't need to think about anything outside your immediate family or like your work or your school. All my job was to study hard. Even though I was really creative and I have lots of ideas, but I was not encouraged to do so. And that program really carried with me for a long, long time. And I struggled a lot, you know, in my teenage years, my university, and I just couldn't figure out why I have this. I really want to get out and break through, get out and really create something, but it's just so this heavy weight is holding me back. And I think not until I spoke to so many coaches and spoke to a visionary coach, I realized, well, the world is my oyster. I can think as big as whatever I want to create. I can create a space. So that was, you know, I wish someone was there to tell me earlier.
Yeah, I think so many people can identify with those comments, right? Where we become products of our parenting. And those are the things that we learn and the values that we have to hold until we start to think and sort of seek and explore elsewhere around the world and see, oh, wait a minute, this isn't the only way. What? There's other things that are possible? Fantastic. And so in talking about your past, maybe that's a good segue for the next question. What's the most difficult thing you've ever had to do? Whatever you're comfortable sharing, personally, professionally.
Wow. I actually thought about this question. The most difficult thing is understanding myself and getting out of that old program. Is the process of self-discovery, the breakthrough. I had so much pain, so much trauma, so much emotions trapped inside my body, and I didn't even know. Like I had these pain for years since I was a little girl and didn't understand that I thought I have a chronic condition. And until I had hypnotherapy session, it's completely gone. I was in awe. How is that possible? And then I've spoken to so many, different coaches and realized, well, I have a lot of emotions that trapped inside my body because I was too afraid. I had so much fear. I was too afraid to speak up. I was afraid that I would get shut down. Even mom said, you can't say whatever you want to say. The police will come and get you. All these little comments to a little girl that was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. So huge fear in my life. Even, I've lived in Australia for, a long time. I still carry that fear with me until recently I realized, whoa, it's okay to, time to release all that. And it takes a lot of courage as well to speak up. Because when you speak up, you start to release. When you talk about it, you start to face it front on. Having that courage to say no.
Well, you're sharing so many tips with us. Maybe we can ask another question. Do you have one best tip for the next generation of women in STEM?
Well, that's a huge question. I think self-love and self-care is the most important, unless you start to pay attention within that inner voice, that little girl inside of you, and nurture her, protect her.
I think you've nailed it with all of that. And so, but I'm going to make you flip back and think harder again to your past and say, I'm giving you some pixie dust. You got to go back and change one thing. Would you change anything?
Oh, it's the self-doubt. I would stand up for myself.
Awesome. And for those of you in the audience that don't have the benefit of the lovely Zoom, Allie Xu just gave us a big, huge phoenix wing spread, right? And it's saying it out loud, right? That's the part that's liberating, because by saying it out loud, you acknowledge that it's real. And once it's been said, it can't be unsaid. It's out there. And so you have to own it, work through it until you get to the place of acceptance. And that's tough. That's just not easy.
Yeah. And I think authenticity, be authentic, be real to yourself. You don't have to answer to anyone else, but be real to your own feeling, yourself, your journey.
I hear you. It took me a long time to embrace my weirdness, nerdiness, and contrarian nature. And now I'm like, yeah, I own it. But it took decades. Yeah. Now, flipping it around, you've been so helpful telling our audience all kinds of great insights and tips. How can our audience help you?
Well, that's a great question. I think bring that humanity into STEM, into tech, into education, into whatever field you're in. But bring that kindness, the giving heart to other people.
One of a kind and a breath of fresh air, like just amazing. What a vision. A kinder, gentler, happier, healthier world. Really, we'll do what we can with our audience to help make that happen. But now, last question, because this, of course, is the, most important question of all the stuff that we've discussed. So now, Allie, I'm going into your closet and I'm going to look to see if I can find a pair of shoes where that shoe style best reflects your personality. Am I going to see boots, stilettos, sneakers, flats, or flip-flops?
Flats. I thought about this. I'm like, is that like a psychology question, like personality test for me? But flats. Flats is you can wear both casual as well as like formal, informal, or events. But also it's practical. I think action is very important. We can dream, we can say things or plan ahead, but it's the action really makes it count. So we need to go out and execute our vision and make it happen.
So you stay grounded in your flats, right? There you go.
Yeah, the word stay grounded. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Well, all right. Thank you so much, Allie, for being on our show here today. And we wish you enormous success with the World Pharmacy Organization and really changing things up, inverting our attention so that we are focused on preventive measures versus just treating when people are sick, and recognizing that there is balance, whole health, and that you can balance both profits and revenues, which are essential and do make businesses keep going, with the human connection And bringing that forward, I think, is exactly what the world needs right now, post-COVID. So all the best to you.
Thank you so much for having me, and just amazing questions, and really helped me to reflect in myself as well. So thank you so much, Warren, for this amazing platform that you have here. And thank you for holding the space for women in STEM, holding the space, for the future generation, and then the amazing work education platform you're providing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Allie.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?